How are you? Well, I must pay for your past evening.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our planning committee meeting. This is a public broadcast meeting that is streamed via live to our website and available on YouTube. I would therefore ask that you conduct yourselves in an appropriate manner. I would welcome those present in the public seating area if there were any. Its officers and those who are going to speak. I ask that you remain seated and quiet during the proceedings. My name is Councillor Chetland from Lemonsley Ward. I'm chair of Lichfield's Planning Committee. In a moment, I'll ask everybody participating in the meeting to introduce themselves. Before doing so, can I remind everyone in the meeting to ensure that your mobile and electronic devices are either switched off or muted throughout this session. Those who are registered to speak, which we've only got the planning officers, please ensure your content is relevant to the material and material to the debate in hand, and that you're mindful of the allotted speaking times. If you go over this time, you'll be asked to stop immediately. If everyone can speak clearly, primarily for the microphones and also for the fact that I'm deaf and my screen's just frozen. Planning committee is a non-political quasi-judicial committee bound by the National Planning Policy Framework, Lichfield's local plan and supplementary planning guidance. It has shrunk. Our decisions are formed by planning considerations tied to these policies, but it's not a pure science. We must weigh up the benefits and harm when coming to a view. The arrangements for conducting this meeting are as follows. Officers will introduce each application. Members of the public will get the opportunity to speak. Members are reminded to keep their questions to the point and on matters of clarification for planning issues only. Any technical questions and clarifications on these details of the applications will generally be best directed to the officers. Committee members will then discuss and decide on the officers' recommendations of each application. May I also be clear that we cannot receive any questions public because they're not here. Please be assured the committee will aim to thoroughly question and consider all matters before it in coming to a decision. When we come to a vote on an application, I will initially ask all members to confirm if they are minded to approve the recommendation of the report by raising their hand. I will then ask for those of you voting against the recommendation or abstaining to confirm the specific planning reasons you are doing so. In the event of the vote being carried against the officer's recommendation, I will ask the officers to comment on the validity of the planning reasons, and if recommended by officers, will ask members to vote again on whether to defer that item for a further report for those reasons. If for any reason a member is not present for the whole of the item, they will be asked to not vote on that application. I will now ask all members and then officers participating to introduce themselves.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Derek Coff. I'm the ward councillor for Ross and Fradley.
Good evening. I'm Councillor Joe Powell, Little Aston and Stunnell.
Good evening, Richard Stevenson. I'm councillor for Ross and Fradley.
Good evening. I'm Councillor Tom Marshall and I'm councillor for the ward of Armitage with Handsacre.
Good evening. I'm David Salter, councillor for Shenstone.
I'm Anne Hughes. I'm a councillor on this committee.
I'm Hugh Ashton, also a councillor on this committee.
Guy Evans, councillor.
Michael Galvin, councillor.
Ashton, councillor.
Ian Anketer, councillor.
Frank Whitley, principal planning officer.
Richard Thomas, Staffs County Highways.
Shika Dasani, senior planning officer.
Alworth, legal advisor.
Harry Challoner, plan and development manager.
Sinead Cartwright, governance officer.
And Christine Lewis, elections and democratic manager.
Just to explain for anyone who's wondering why some councillors represent wards and some don't, it's entirely up to us whether or not we declare which ward we represent, following debate at full council as to whether or not it was a declaration or not a declaration. As we said earlier, it's a quasi-judicial committee, which is not based on any political positions. So, moving on. Apologies for absence, please.
Apologies are received from Councillor Mears, Taylor and Cleverly.
Okay, there's no one else missing. Declarations of interest. One, thank you. minutes of the previous meeting, which have already been approved at full council. And at that point, we added in the fact that it isn't just Friends of Lichfield Historic Parks. We amended Friends of Lichfield Historic Parks. Are there any other observations for the minutes that have already been approved once to be approved?
Chair.
Okay, thank you. Planning applications. Those who have looked earlier in the week noticed there were 2 applications to be heard today. One of those applications has been withdrawn. And that application that's been withdrawn is the land west of Hay Lane, Longdon Green, 2501480/FUL. And that may appear at a later time. It's down to some serving of notices. So we move on to the second application, which is before us, because this is District Council are a partner in this particular development, so it comes before us. So this is former Debenhams, Bakers Lane, Lichfield, application number 25/01592/COUM. And this is going to be presented to us by Shanika Dasani.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, members. Today we have in front of us an application for the former Debenhams site. Has previously been granted planning permission in March 2024 and subsequently for minor alterations under Section 73 application. We have in front of us is a site area plan. Various changes have taken place since the extent permission was granted in 2024. And what we have in front of us is an aerial view showing the site from west of Birmingham Road. Right in front of us that is being shown are current photos of the actual cinema site, which was granted permission. Photo 1 shows the site from the western side, and photograph 2 shows the site taken from the southern side. On this particular slide, I draw your attention to photograph 3, which shows planters currently present, which was the former car parking location. So since then, we've had some movement on this site. And then photograph 4 shows the site taken from the southern side. In front of us, we have a separation showing what was approved prior to what we have in front of us today. So we have an approved set of floor plans showing the units from within. We've got 2 units which are described as demise 1 and demise 2, where originally we granted planning permission for a terrace that was for separately 2 separate terrace units. Now in front of us, they would like to actually create it as one amalgamated terraced area frontage. And then we also have at this particular, well, this floor plan also showed, which will show on elevations in a short moment, is changes to fenestrations and doors from the previous application. And then this particular slide shows the floor plan of the previously approved roof plan area, where there was a plant, 2 separate planting points that were actually approved. And now the applicant wishes to make the plant area as one amalgamated area, but the square footage is remaining the same. Is the elevation taken from the northwest position, where there are changes that have been shown from the previously approved drawings. There is detailed terracing changes that are taking place to the actual terracing area, which is now again showing to be not 2 separate terrace areas, but one whole piece, so that movement for customers is more easily accessible for them. And also fenestrations at ground and first floor are shown to be different, including doors where they are now looking to make bifolding doors, and also window changes have been proposed here. Previously, we actually had design detailing that showed clad, and this is now being put forward as brickwork. So again, showing a bit more consistency with the rest of the building, and having consulted our heritage consultants as a result of this site being in the conservation area, they have actually have got no objections to the details that come before us. And from the northeast elevation, from the previous submission that was approved, again, the fenestrations at the ground floor windows, those panels of 3 windows have now been changed to the ones that you can see before you. The actual proposal has actually changed the detailing of it, trying to mirror image what's going on at the front, on the front elevation. And again, the brickworking is now more consistent than it was before, so the improvements are being shown on these drawings. And on the southeast position, the proposed drawings, again, before we could see on the first floor, there were panels, blank panels that were going to be situated either side of the window plane. And now these have been changed to be removed, making it a bit more consistent with the detailing of the rest of the building. Again, removing the clad, and due to fire regulations and fire safety, the applicant was then made aware that they need a fire exit door. So in the centrally located area, there is a fire exit door, which has meant that previously the hedging was considered as a linear point to actually have planting going across, but they've had to create a little cut through in order to make sure that the fire exit is clear and available for everyone to use if and when necessary. Again, on the southern side of the elevation, you can see that the window paneling and the clad has been removed. The windows have changed to be a little bit more consistent, and also there is a canopy area which was originally granted to be coming out, projecting out further out from the building, and the applicant now wishes to reduce that canopy in a more cohesive fashion and the detailing of the rest of this building. On the previous extant permission, we actually attached a condition for landscaping, which included hard and soft landscaping. And as a result of those conditions that they did not want to discharge, but they actually have formally put those details as part of this Section 73 application. So we have before us public realm improvements, which include hard and soft landscaped areas. And again, showing further detailing of hard and soft landscaped areas. What I would like to also draw your attention to is the southern side of this particular building, where we've got 5 circular cycle racks that have been proposed. And these 5 circular cycle racks can actually take on 10 bikes at a time. So they have been considered to be in a secure, safe location, visible for people to see, but also easily accessible for cycle users. And so I actually missed off that internally at first floor, they also want to discharge the condition which related to cycle detailing for staff. So they've created 20 cycle areas within the floor plan. I have to go back to that a second. On this plan, which may be not so clear on this, but they've actually shown 20 spaces within the first floor area for it to be safe, secure and dry for the staff to be able to use their bikes. So in total, we have in front of us 30 bikes that will be able to be accommodated on this site for this particular application, which officers, highway officers, are also considered to be acceptable. That specific detail to cover those elements of that condition. And we have been presented by the applicants with a revised CGI showing the variation of materials that are now removing that clad and also the terrace area showing to be more open, and again more cohesive fenestration and detailing have been put forward to us. So in conclusion, this Section 73 application is for minor material amendments. There is changes to fenestration details which have been considered to be positive detailing changes, and there's no underlying objection from our heritage consultants. The terrace area is considered to be better play of movement for customers that will be using that area for this particular site. There's been no increase of units or plant areas within this. The detailing has been forward, which will now address any health and safety building regulation details, and any of the outstanding conditions relating to cycle, landscaping and glazing have also been addressed within this application. Officers are comfortable and satisfied with the noise detailing remaining the same, which is acceptable as part of the extent permission, and also they also consider that those conditions that were imposed to the applicant at the time still actually are relevant in this case. And there are no other matters that relate to this. The rest of the other amenity impacts, highway impacts and ecology impacts still remain acceptable, and as such, officers are minded to recommend this application for approval. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Sheikha. I've got Councillor Marshall first, please.
Thank you, Chairman. If I can start off by being slightly mischievous. When I was a child, I used to love those pictures which were juxtaposed and you had to spot the difference. There are 5 differences on a line drawing, circle around the differences. This took me back 50 or so years. I used to do that, used to enjoy it. I don't wish to be in any way critical, but I think what I'm trying to illustrate is that the changes are very nuanced. They are minor. And I think for that reason, there is nothing there really which is in any way controversial or likely to create consternation amongst people. If the first plans were acceptable, then I certainly think that these revised plans are, because in some ways, all they have done is taken a nuanced approach and improved something which perhaps wasn't perfect the first time around. So for that very reason, and without any more words from me, I think I'm happy to recommend approval in line with the officer's recommendation, Chairman. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Powell.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Yes, I echo Councillor Marshall's thoughts. I'd also like to say I think it is nice to see the cladding removed and the brickwork going in. It's apart from the health and safety issues, it just looks neater like that. But I'd also like to say thank you for the bicycle parking. As you know, I've been banging on about this since I ever joined the council donkeys years ago. The only thing I'd say is if we're going to put some there at the cinema, then perhaps we should think about some somewhere else in town as well for the other shops and facilities, but that's for another day. I'll second the proposal that we accept.
It is, and I agree with your sentiments. You can't expect people to use a bike if they can't leave it anyway. Councillor Hughes.
Yeah, I don't disagree from anything that's been said, but I just wondered about the bike store for staff being upstairs. Yeah, but
Assumption is there's a lift.
but just the whole thing being a little bit cumbersome. But you know,
for leaving.
Yeah, but you know, if I was rushing, you know, to go to the cinema when it opens promptly, in whenever it is, but that's just to justify coming out at all tonight, I suppose. I'm happy to just approve it.
No, I don't think Councillor Powell's technically second. Did you second? You did second. Yeah. Anyone else? Okay. Oh, sorry, Councillor Patel.
Are the bicycle stands, are they for the staff's use or for customers?
On the first floor, there's 20 for the staff, and on the ground outside, there's 10 for people coming in on bicycles.
50.
5 stands, 10 each.
No,
so
5 stands 2 each.
It's like 10 each. Sorry.
I misunderstood that.
Okay. Is there anyone else? Okay. In that case, it's been proposed that we approve the recommendations for this change in the section 73 application. Proposed by Councillor Marshall, seconded by Councillor Powell, and thirded by Councillor Hughes, I think. So, all those in favour? Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for those people who tuned in for this 20 minutes. I'm going to close the meeting at 20 past.